This is the Vision 79 podcast, where my friend Sander and myself, Mason, discuss recent developments in our business and personal growth. The name Vision 79 comes from our respective racing numbers. Sanders is 40, mine is 39, and we have similar ambition to progress in our business and personal growth. Many successful people have started small, just like us, but very few of them have documented their early years. They often say they wish they had, and given we believe in learning lessons from others, we intend to be the first to document our journey from start to finish. This is simply a documentary of our lives, and as such, we do not monetize these videos, so enjoy the ad-free content. Each episode is broken down into 3 segments, each covering our progress over the past week. We start by discussing our life updates, then our business updates, and lastly, we share any lessons we've learned over the past week. We have timestamps in the description to navigate these sections easily. Today is August 2nd, 2026, and we're recording episode 116. So, what is your life update this week?
Life update this week, kicking it off with Blue Origin. Next generation test work is still in progress. But as of this week, I've actually been assigned another test. So I've felt a little bit kind of like slower paced. I haven't really been like super busy, although I've been like moderately, occupied,
Sure.
we'll say. And I got assigned another test before and currently still, on GS3 EMAs. So what that means is it's third stage of the next generation New Glenn, and the EMAs are the electromechanical actuators that move the motors as a part of the TVC system, which is the thrust vector control. Essentially, like, does the thing fly in the direction you want it to fly?
Right.
The new test that I've gotten in addition to that is called the ISA. And the ISA is the interstage adapter, and that goes between the first stage and the second stage of the next generation rocket. And so I don't know if I could really say why we need it, but it's basically a big ring. And so it essentially just goes between first and second stage. And so I will be testing the separation of that ring after GS1 first stage and GS2 second stage separate. That ring will break away, and so I'm testing the functionality of that system, at least to some extent.
Got it.
We can't fully test it, or at least completely, because of the restrictions we have for testing. We can't like blow apart a ring in a room,
Right.
but we can test the functionality up until that point. So that's what my additional test was. My manager was originally going to pull me off of the first thing and just put me on the second thing, and then I messaged him and I was like, "Can I just do both?" Because I got a
You
little
kind of
bit of
prefer
time.
anyways.
Yeah, and so I'll be doing both, which is kind of cool. I'm the only person on the team who has 2 tests, which is sort of neat. And so I also did have my mid-year review this past week, and my manager's really happy with my performance, all that good jazz. And it was interesting. So you give yourself feedback, and then your manager gives you feedback, and then you kind of like compare the 2 side by side in your mid-year.
Yeah.
And so my positives and what I'd done well were very, very similar to my manager's. And ironically, my needs to improve is also really similar to my needs to improve from my manager. And essentially, all in all, my needs to improve side was, I think that sometimes when stuff doesn't go well, or I have like a little test that's taken too long, or something's going on, I'm very hard on myself. And I'm very hard on myself in that sense, because I feel as though I'm not performing to my own standards, and I have like limitations into what I can do, because I am in like a 9 to 5 environment where there is some level of protocol. And so I feel as though I'm getting held up, even though I'm trying to follow the process that we have. And it irks me, and I'm really hard on myself, because it's like, this should be getting done faster, but I can't. I feel like it's reflecting poor on me, blah, 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 blah. Right. And his feedback was like nearly identical. And we talked about in the mid-year, I was like, it's a blessing and a curse, and it's been that way my whole life. Right. You have high standards, but at the same time, those high standards can result in being really hard on yourself. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a give and take in that sense. But those things are kind of what's going on at work. So been relatively busy this week, doing some extra hours, working through that stuff, etc.
Do you prefer when it's busy to when it's slow?
I do, yeah.
Got it.
Very much so. Because I find when it's slow, I get tired at work.
Yep.
And then I get very tired earlier in the day,
Mhm.
and then it's more challenging for me to get motivated and pick back up again.
Me too.
Versus if it's busier at work, then I'm already in a flow after work, and it's easier to stay busy.
Yeah, me
So like
too.
object in motion tend to stay in motion. It's like kind of
Yeah.
like that, right?
I think when I get bored, my brain starts to turn off. If it's like, okay, if we're not doing anything, then we should just like recover and rest so that when we do have work to do, we can turn it all the way on.
Yep.
And so when I get bored, I get tired too.
Yep. So that's the Blue Origin update. The Miata, I got aligned. So I got that car aligned up.
Cool.
I had significant tire wear from my trip in Tennessee.
Good.
I'll show you after the podcast, but it was
Yeah.
a ton of fun. I talked about it last
Like
time. But
almost need new tires, tire wear, or like just more than what it was before.
Oh,
Okay.
more than it was before. Probably
Got it.
like I probably shaved off in 2,000 miles, and a good amount of those miles were also highway, like
Right.
a very good amount. I probably shaved off 30% of that tire.
Interesting. Okay. But they're
So
really soft, right?
they are,
like
but I
200
usually
bucks?
get, for like perspective, I usually get 20,000 miles out of them,
Got it.
or like 18.
Right.
So in
Though most of
2,000
those miles are usually like pretty chill.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Driving around
but
town.
definitely,
Yeah.
glad I got
Could
an
be
alignment.
worse.
Yeah,
Yeah. You could need new tires after one trip to the tail.
yeah.
That'd be costly.
True. We'll run some slicks on the tail.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw a funny meme. There was a guy in, I think it was a Camaro. He had his girlfriend in the passenger seat. He was going to get new tires, and he'd stacked the tires in the passenger seat, and his
Mhm.
girlfriend was sitting inside the tires to get to a tire place. That's
That's
pretty
funny.
funny. But yeah, got that car aligned. The other thing that I've kind of pushed into life update that was business, although I feel like it is business, was Mike's Porsche, the one I'm
Mhm.
working on. On the surface, it can be like, why are you working on someone else's car instead of your own? And like, I've thought about that. There are two sides to the coin on that. One, I really do want to see it get running.
Mhm.
Actually, three sides to the coin on that one. I do really want to get it to see it running and driving.
Right.
That's one. Number two, Mike helped me immensely with my shop space starting up. And part of what I want to do for him to say thank you essentially is to help him get his car going.
Yeah, he's
Right?
your friend.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the second side of that coin. And the third side is that a lot of the car is very similar to mine,
Right.
and there are still things I have to learn on my car. And in the process, I do learn things about the 914 that I didn't know otherwise. That
Right.
I assume will prove useful in the future.
Mhm.
Especially actually when it comes to the electrical fiasco in his 914, because I do
With the
have electrical
security system.
problems in the green car.
Right.
And so going over wiring diagrams and stuff like that, it is proving to be helpful in that sense.
Right.
But on his car this week, we got the headlight, we got a vast majority of the extra harnessing that the guy had added in. We already stripped out before this week,
Mhm.
but this week we got the front trunk safety alarm switch disconnected and out of the system,
Okay.
to the actual rear lid trunk switch safety disconnected and out of the system. We also got the headlights working, the fog lights working, went through some of the center console to figure out what gauges need what and where certain wires are coming from and how they work.
Right.
And in the process of that as well, the trunk lid switch, the safety switch for the alarm, the guy had drilled a hole in the actual headlight casing, or sorry, taillight casing,
Okay.
in order to mount it. And so the taillight case was all screwed up.
Right.
So I managed to grab one from my spare parts.
Cool.
And we swapped out the internals for a different case,
Mhm.
got that working nicely. And then additionally, the headlights and the fog lights were a real fiasco because we'd seen the headlights work before.
Mhm.
So we presumed that the headlight circuit was good, at least to some extent, right?
Mhm.
Now we pulled a bunch of wiring out of the front. And so my presumption was when the headlights didn't work after that, which they didn't, I was like, something we pulled out interfered with it, right?
Sure. Or the bulbs are bad. The bulbs are bad.
Right. So that's the funny part. Well,
Okay.
we'd seen the bulbs work before,
Sure.
right? And so we start pulling out this wire. I'm starting to trace wires. We're doing continuity tests, voltage tests, all this stuff, right? And so I'm trying all the different switch positions. And eventually, by some like stroke of luck, we get the headlights to turn on in one of the positions. We can't
Mhm.
get like a differentiation between high beam and low beam, but the headlights do turn on.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, interesting. And so then I was like, let's pull the bulbs out. Now we hadn't done that yet, because it's a pain in the ass on that car.
And you had seen them work
Because
previously.
you got to wind the motors down to a specific spot. You got to take out a shrouding as well as the top body panel piece for the headlight cover,
Right.
and it's kind of a fiasco to get them out. But we pulled those bulbs out, and I noticed that the bulbs, when we pulled them out, were 80 watt slash 100 watt.
Okay.
Stock is 5560 or 4560.
Okay.
So aftermarket bulbs, he had a lot of aftermarket relays in there. Maybe he
Right.
was sending some more power to those bulbs, and that's why
Right.
they're not turning on.
Right.
So we pulled the bulbs out, checked the voltage at the connector, and we had voltage. So our bulbs are bad, right? This took a lot longer than I'm telling this story.
Yeah.
So figured that side out, and then for the fog lights, he had in this process as well. We'd realized that the fog light switch was actually a headlight switch that someone had put a fog light switch cover on,
Oh.
and they'd wired it in separately to different relays. And I
Okay.
figured out that they did this because they wanted to be able to turn the fog lights on when the high beams were on,
Right.
which you normally can't do because the circuit is broken in the high beam position.
Right. Right.
Right. And so I pulled the fog light switch out, and I start tracing wires, and I find the original wiring harness tucked way up in the dash. And the other thing I found in my space was I found an original fog light switch, which is no longer available. You can't buy them anymore.
Cool.
I found an original fog light switch, and not only did I find an original fog light switch, I found a 1971 one,
Which matches his
which
car.
matches his car.
Cool.
And it's important because there are 3 different iterations of that fog light switch,
Mhm.
and it's not the actual switch that's different, but the cover on the outside is different. There's a
Okay.
dark green, a light green, and an orange, and they have different logos.
Okay.
So I actually managed to find him the dark green,
Cool.
in good condition fog light switch for his car.
Cool.
So we put that in there. I checked the switch. The switch was good. I checked continuity through the wires. They were good. I checked power to the relay. Then also checked the relays because I wasn't getting any clicking on the relays. Checking
Check
all
the
these
bulb.
things, blah, blah, blah. It didn't have any bulbs. It was just wires because there's no
Oh,
fog
okay.
lights in the
Got
car.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So checking all this stuff.
So the bulb's not the problem. It has
Yeah.
no bulbs.
Well, it's interesting. And I start going through all these circuit diagrams. I'm like, why am I still not getting power to the fog light harness? And I look at the wiring diagram and I start tracing more things. So I've already traced from the switch down, and I'm like, okay, like I know that this should be getting power. And then I'd figured out that the relay was getting power and was getting signal from the switch, but it still wasn't clicking over. And I managed to get the relay to click at 12 volts on the battery. And so I was like, okay, like the relay's clicking.
Right.
It must not be grounding.
Okay.
It must not be grounding the signal circuit. That's the only reason it would not send power through the main circuit in order to send power to the fog lights. If the signal from the switch is not getting ground, because then it doesn't know that there is a signal.
Okay.
And so then I start tracing where does the signal go for ground. Goes through the headlight bulb, which we
Which
pulled
we
out.
pulled out. Yeah.
Right. So we put the headlight bulb back in, the
It
fucking
worked.
fog lights worked. So headlight bulbs were quite a theme.
All
this
you
week.
needed was new bulbs to fix everything.
Yeah,
the headlights, yeah.
pretty funny. But no, I mean, in the process, I learned a lot about it, and I think I went about it relatively methodically. And so I'm happy about that. You know, you're checking that the switch works, checking that the wires are getting power, there's the relay getting power. Am I getting signal across the relay? Do I have continuity up to the front end of the car, which I did, blah, 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 right? So went about it relatively strategically, and happy about that.
Dude, the better you get at electrical stuff, the better the news it is for me because I don't know any electrical stuff. So when you get to be like a super whiz at like all car electrical everything, then like when my shit breaks, you can help.
I'll probably be relatively good at things outside of CAN bus systems.
What's CAN bus?
That's in modern cars, you don't have like hard wires to everything. You have little computers that talk to other little computers.
I don't care about that.
That stuff, a little bit out of my wheelhouse right now.
I need 1995 Camaro cooling electronics.
Yeah, those are pretty easy.
Those are the only ones I need.
But I don't think there's any CAN bus in that car. But that's been the update on that car. Learned quite a bit. Spent most of my days there this week sorting through that stuff when I was at the shop. I only actually had half of a day to work on the green car, but I still did make some progress on the green car. Just a little bit of a fiasco week, partially because I've been busier at work, but that's really not it. The big elephant in the room is I had a old friend call me Sunday night asking if they could crash at my place.
How old is he?
He's my age.
He said he's an old friend.
Oh,
Yeah, he texted you.
Yeah, he texted me. asking if he could crash on my place. And he, I've given him the balance of the week and some change as of now in order to stay there.
Hmm.
And so set up, part of my week was taken up by some problems introduced by that situation, which I won't get into too much detail. But frustrating issues that have pulled away from what I want to be doing
Hmm.
just stuff happening at the house that is important to address because it's valuable and important to me, and I care about the quality of my relationship with the people around me.
Right.
But at the same time, um, it's the introduction of someone new into my house who then is, sleeping in my space, eating my girlfriend and I's food, using our amenities, all this stuff, and then them causing issues for me that I don't expect or really like am planning to be presented.
Right.
It obviously causes disturbance in the quality of my life.
Yeah.
Um, and so working on getting them out. But that has been the elephant in the room for this week, which is why things have been a little bit messed up.
Hmm.
But I have some good lessons learned for
Good.
this week.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the ass when that happens, like with home life stuff, because
Yeah.
even when you get the time to go work on the stuff that you'd rather be working on, you're preoccupied mentally with that stuff because you're like worried about having to deal with
Yes.
it later, or like what's going on while you're not there. And
Right.
then like, it's sometimes like they text you and there's problems that are going on and you can't really focus on the work that you would rather be doing. Whereas when
Exactly.
everything's stable, you can just kind of like turn that half of my brain off and like focus on what I want to be doing.
Mhm.
So I understand that. It's challenging.
But that's been my life update for this week.
Hmm.
What do you have for life this week?
Mine's a lot shorter and less dramatic. Mine
Ah,
mine is pretty simple. I played pickleball with my parents yesterday. They thanked me for I was supposed to watch their fish tank while they were gone. Like just like they were like come by
just look
one.
at it the whole time.
They said watch the whole thing. They said go on like one day of the week that they're gone and just like make sure that everything's good and like drop a piece of food in. And I was like, okay. So I came by on that day and half the fish were dead. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. So like I had to scoop all the fish out. I put them in the freezer and like I did like a water change and everything. And I was like, dude, like I don't know what to tell you. And they were like, what the fuck? Like I don't know what could be going on. And I was like, I don't know. And so then I was like, do you want me to come back tomorrow and check? And they were like, no, don't worry about it. But I went back anyway and another fish had died. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And my mom was like, what is the temperature set at in the house? Because my dad always keeps it hot. My dad always keeps it at like 75 in the house. But when they left, they turned it up to like 80. And my mom was like, those fish, like they can't be in water that's over like, it was like 76 degrees or something like that.
Shit.
How hot is the water? And I checked the water and it was like 80. And I was like, oh, that's the problem. So like I did a water change with cold water and like turned the AC back up. And then the last couple of fish lived, but
Oh,
it's because my dad turned the AC off. That's
yeah.
why they all died. So they did not expect me to have to scoop out a bunch of dead fish. These are big fish too, or like do water changes or anything.
Yeah,
So
your parents got like
they did.
big boys.
They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
They
They
did.
did.
But
They did.
yeah, so we played pickleball yesterday and they took us to breakfast to thank us. So
Cool.
that was fun. Most of my life update this week is Lexus related, but I'll put that in the lessons learned because I don't have any good lessons this week. But so as a tangent to my Lexus issue is needing a promotion at Northrop Grumman, right? So this week was the last week for my coworker. She left. It was supposed to be my boss's last week, but the director asked him to go like part time for 2 weeks. So he has 2 more weeks on my team as part time before he leaves. But I talked to my manager, my functional manager, who's not my assignment manager, who's leaving. And I was like, "Hey, dude, like I would like to be put in promotion because I am gonna need it with all the shit that's going on." And he was like, "Well, HR really likes to see people in like have 6 months between promotions or new roles, and you were only promoted in April, so the earliest you'd be eligible is October." And I was like, cool. In April, I wasn't a cost manager, and now I have a enormous account. Like I have the starter account that's like for regular cams, which no regular cam is level 2. And then I also have this giant like decade long contract that I'm
Oh, wow.
doing detail planning for. And he was like, oh, okay, that's probably like a good we probably have like a firm like reason to apply for a promotion then. Like we can probably bend the rules. And I was like, yeah. My boss has put together a like parting email with like directions on like how to keep the ship afloat after he leaves, and he's going to send it out to like the wider program to let everyone know what's going on with set. And he names me as the see it lead for my task. So now I'm a cam. I'm a cam of a giant package, and I'm now a lead. And I'm a level 2. And so I took that to my functional, and he was like, let's put some stuff together and like start working on it. Cause like, I think you have a good shot. And like, if we can't get a promotion out of cycle now, then I'm a shoe in for October when that's my 6 month mark and it's in the middle of the fall promo cycle. So he was like, if we can't get you on before October, then like we have a strong case in October. If you don't get it in October, then like, I don't know what to say other than like, you will get it in the spring. So it's like a matter of time, but like we're gonna try for before October or October. So when my coworker left, we're in the middle of doing the IMS, the integrated master schedule for the next like 10 years. And so that basically consists of making planning packages, which is this is the work that needs to be completed, and we have to assign X amount of hours to that planning package, right? And then you do that for 10 years. And then in like 6 months to 12-month chunks, you detail plan those planning packages, right? And so for like 10 years, I have like all these planning packages and chunks of work and like different subject matter experts that have to speak on those packages. And then for the next 18 months, I have to do detailed planning. So like specifically like what tasks will you be doing in these specific weeks and how many hours go into them. And as systems, I'm in charge of like all the configuration data management folks, all the specialty engineer folks, um, uh tested verification people. So like I have like 40 people that have to inform my what I'm writing in these planning packages. So the day that my coworker left, we had a meeting with the scheduler. So like I'm the cost manager and I work with a scheduler. And so they work like timeline stuff, right? And she was like, "Hey, I need you to sit down with me because we changed the IMS dates. So we have to go in and change all the dates for all of my planning packages over the next 10 years."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay." And so we sat down. It was an hour and a half meeting, and I was there for 6. And then we did it again the next day with other people. And so like at one point on Thursday or Friday, my boss came by my desk and he was like, "How are you doing?" And I like put myself on mute. And I was like, "I have been in this meeting covering this exact thing for 7 hours over the last 24. So I've spent like almost like a third of my time in the last 24 hours doing this shit." And he was like, welcome to being a cam. And I was like, thanks. Cause he made me a cam and now he's leaving my team. But it was like drinking from a fire hose. There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I'm now like the guy for a lot of things, which I historically, I have preferred to work at Northrop Grumman as like the guy who always has time available to help you with whatever you need. So like if you're on my team, if you're not on my team, if you need help, you come to me and like I will get it done for you, right? And I like that because I usually don't have a ton going on. Like I get my stuff done, but I'm not like stressed. I'm not under deadlines. But now it's like I have a lot of obligations and there's people asking me for shit. So like a guy who I don't even know sent me an email, me and like 3 other guys, and I know one of the other guys, and they were like, "Hey, I have to put in a request for you to build slides for a PSR that we're presenting in August." And I replied to my buddy who I knew, and I said, "What the hell is a PSR? Who is it presented to? Who does the presenting and when?" And he called me and he was like, "A PSR is a program startup review. So like when you start a new contract, you pitch it to like the director or the bigwigs, and it's basically like an internal Northrop thing that gives our leadership the warm and fuzzy that we're ready to go do it, right?" And it'll probably be like our managers who present, and we're gonna do it at the end of August. And like he said it over the course of like, like 10 minutes. Like he said that over the course of 10 minutes. And I was like, "Cool. Next time, please email that to me. Like, unless it needs to be explained, just like 10 words is all I need." And he was like, "Okay, got it. Sounds good." And like, that was it. But like, I'm starting to get like more, not short with people, but just like politely condensed, where it's like I don't have as much time now as I used to. So like I need to work faster. Like I need you guys
Right.
to fucking just like spit it out, right? Um, and so like I went to my boss and I was like, "Do you know what a PSR is? Like, what the fuck is this?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just bullshit." Like who like I was like, "Have you done this?" And he was like, "Yeah, for the last effort we did it and like one director called in and that was it. He like isn't related to the project. He was just calling in for situational awareness." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll shit out these slides in 3 weeks because I have other shit going on that's more important." Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's a lot more work now than I had before. And I'm now the guy that like people look to, which is different because usually like my career and because I've been there since I was an intern. So like when you come in as an intern, people kind of view you as like the college kid and like you just screw around, who cares, right? And then I was the T1 for 5 years. And so everyone joked because like I should have been promoted and I never was. And so they joked that like, oh, I'm a T1. It's not my responsibility. And then I very rapidly have progressed from like the underpaid T1 who like you can rely on, but like doesn't have to like, go the extra mile to like I have to contact Mason because he has all of the cam detail plan. I
Yeah.
have to report my hours to Mason,
Right.
which is weird. And I don't know how to navigate being like going from like a friend level figure to like a lead level figure. So I have to figure that out. But in any case, that's my Northrop update.
Do you like being busier?
No, not at all. There's different like kinds of busy, right? There's like I have a lot of work to do and I can sit on my own and do it busy. Love
Yeah.
that busy.
Yeah.
That busy's
That's the busy I
fine.
got.
That's the busy I like. I can listen to
Yeah.
podcasts. Like I can tell people to fuck off because this is important. I have to get it done. This kind of busy is like I am doing things that are complex for the first time. So I have to be on the phone with someone else learning how to do it, or I have to be collaborating with like the scheduler or the SME to get it done.
Yeah.
And so like
It's a lot of bureaucratic style junk.
yeah, it's a lot of like bureaucratic stuff. It's a lot of learning new things. And it's like it's high pressure learning new things because if I fuck up, then I cost the company money, right?
Right.
And I've been doing a good job, but it's because I've been applying myself and trying. So like I far prefer this level of busy over having nothing to do and being bored because I don't like feeling not effective, right? Like I don't like feeling like I'm not contributing. But at this point, I feel like I'm contributing I am contributing so much more than I'm being paid. And I joked about it when I was a level 1 because I was like, I'm doing level 3 work as a level 1. Now I'm doing manager level work. Like I'm doing SO2 level manager work as a level 2. So like now it's kind of pissing me off because before it was like I was doing moderate intensity work and being paid the bare minimum. And so I was like kind of pissy about it, but at least there's low expectations. But now I have to do this work or there are consequences for other people and the company and I'm also not getting paid. So it's like annoying. And it's not like I want like, I don't want to be at like 200K a year or anything like that. But like there are other people who are getting paid like 140 to do the work that I'm doing at lower quality. There are other cams that are less efficient and less accurate in their EAC estimates than I am, and they're getting paid 145, 150 a year.
Yeah.
So I'm very much hoping that a promotion comes in the next couple months. If I don't get one in October, if I don't get one in that fall cycle, then I will get an offer from another company and I will consider taking it because I don't want to wait until the spring. At this point, I really love the flexibility of Northrop Grumman, right? Like if I want to eat lunch at my desk and then take my lunch hour to go show a home, I have the flexibility to do that. You don't get that at all the other companies, but I am working so much now that it is like a personal insult if they don't promote me because there's undisputable facts,
Right.
And that's the problem is that it's like I am the cam, I am doing this work and that's indisputable, right? It's not like a subjective kind of thing. Like when I was a level 1, I was like my boss doesn't give me tasking. Like I make my tasking and I go do it on my own. And you could kind of like you can like wishy-washy your way around being like, oh well, that is like, a good level 1 engineer should like show initiative. And so like that counts. But like this is another level.
Beyond that, yeah.
It's beyond that and it's indisputable. So I would see it as a personal slight if they don't promote me. And I want LC, but that's my lessons learned update. So like that's my life update for the week, I think. Grace and I have a trip coming up. We're going to New York. So this upcoming week is my last week. And then I go out of town for like a week.
Got it. Cool.
And I'll be back in time for the podcast. We leave Monday, we come back Friday or
I'll
something.
feed the
like that.
kitties.
I'm going to have my mom do it. Actually, we're going to drop the cats off at their house and just leave them there. Yeah.
Oh, got it.
It's my mom.
I'm happy to help if you need it.
No, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I talked to my mom about it yesterday because I've watched her fish and so they took me out to thank me for it. And she was like, I'll watch your cats when you're gone. And I was like, I'll just have Sandra do it. And she was like, if you don't mind me watching the guy, like I can set up the bedroom, we can have the litter box, whatever. She really likes animals. She hasn't like since the dogs died, they haven't fostered any dogs or anything like that. Like she has the fish, but it's not the same. So she misses having animals. And so I'm just gonna
Hey, I got a great idea. If you need someone to live there and watch the cats, I know someone.
Dude, I would not burden my family. But well, actually, it's funny because I was thinking about this earlier too. because we had a conversation about how like you like if someone is doing a favor for you, then like just be grateful and like
Right.
don't push it at all, right? And I mentioned to you how like I have been in a similar situation with you, and like I have never said offhanded shit or been rude at all in any case. Like it
Yeah.
is optional to be a dick, and if you're being
Yes.
shitty, then it's on purpose, right? And then I
Right.
thought about it. I was like, it's not just like being dumb or like being non-intellectual. These are like calculated, like fucked up moves that is
Yep.
happening, right? And then I thought about it and I was like, dude, Sander lived with me and my family for like 6 months after we graduated college, and there was never an issue. It was like it was the easiest thing ever. Like my parents had zero issue. They missed
Right.
you when you moved. Like
it's
it's
basic.
easy.
It's
It's
like
basic.
it really is. It's like clean
Yeah.
up after yourself.
Be polite.
Be polite.
Yeah.
Don't take up people's time if they're doing something else.
Just say thank you.
And like,
That's it.
don't be rude or uncomfortable to the other people in the household. It's like not hard.
Dude, it's not hard.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
Anyways,
So
oh God.
that's most of my life update. If I think of other things, I have been busy with a lot of other stuff. So like I've been busy. I have been waking up. You know how I like to cruise into work like whenever, and then I leave like whenever. Like I work until the work is done, right? Recently, I have been like routinely waking up and going to work at the same time earlier than I usually do. Just because I have so much shit to get done that like I still want to have the flexibility of like leaving when I want to leave.
Yeah.
And so in order to do that, I have to get in earlier to get the work done. So I have been getting up earlier. So I have been filling my days with work at Northrop, and then I have like I'm also trying to figure out this LC thing, and then we also have a bunch of like real estate stuff going on. So it's been a busy week. So if I remember a life update later, then I'll interject. But what is your business update this week?
So for business this week, the shop space, first thing on my list, the AC guy said that he'd come Wednesday. I was saying that as a 50-50 shot. He did not come Wednesday. So not to be surprised, but
So that means you've only got one working right now?
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, it is still cool enough in there. I don't have a thermometer in there, but my guess would be it's about 78.
Got it.
If you run it, continuously or close to continuously.
Hey man, it's better than a lot of the days we've had recently. It's been hot as fuck lately.
Yeah. So it's been super hot. But running it continuously costs me around $7-8 a day. If I drop it down to 85 when I'm not there, which is fine, it can cool down quickly once I'm there. If I do that, it's only about like 75 cents more or $1 more per day. Okay, just idle it at 85 and keep the humidity down.
Okay.
Then like my baseline.
Right.
So I'm happy to leave it at 85 most of the time. That's what I've been doing.
What is the AC in your home garage costing you?
It's about $5 a day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
It's not like the end of the world.
no,
It's expensive,
it's not.
but it's not like the end of the world. Okay.
Yeah, and that runs constantly.
Right. My fucking hotspot turned off. I don't know why.
Oh, sadness.
Well, it's still connected, but like it stopped working. So I don't know. I'm trying to fix it. Keep going.
Yeah, but it's cool enough for now. Other AC is not done yet, but I got AC in there, so
yeah,
that's good enough. Green car update. I only did have really about half a day-ish, maybe a day cumulatively that I worked on the green car. I'm really close to finishing up Mike's 914, which is why I've put an emphasis on that.
Right.
But last podcast, I finished off with the front suspension is about halfway apart. At this point, all of the front suspension is completely removed. So that's all out of the car. The rear suspension is almost completely removed. I have 2 bolts left. I had to run home on Saturday, so I didn't get a chance to pull those 2 bolts out.
Yep.
But I got the rear suspension apart, including the like hub assemblies and stuff like that.
Right.
So got a good amount of work done there as well. I also pulled out the chassis side interior components. What I mean by that is I pulled the seats back out, pulled the back panel out behind the seats.
Firewall?
On both sides of that firewall. So the rubber sheeting on the inside of the engine bay and the leather backing on the inside of the interior.
In the cabin? Yeah.
Yeah. So pulled that stuff apart, looking for rust, which I did find.
Oh. How much rust?
Bad. the entire driver's side firewall about a foot above where the engine sits and all the way down is completely rotted out. Like you can stick
put
your
your hand
arm
through?
through it.
Oh shit!
It's a hole this big. Yeah.
How is the surrounding area? Can you weld a plate in there and like patch?
You would have to cut out a space about 2 feet by 2 feet, and you'd have to form fit it and also bend it into shape around areas where there's actually an engine lip where the engine sits.
It's not great for your torsional rigidity either.
Not great, no. The second thing I did was I pulled the rocker panels off, which I have been scared to do.
You know, there's rust in my dad's rocker panels on the Jag. He wants to build a rotisserie to weld it. He wants to learn to weld and then build a rotisserie and then fix it. It's a big
Yeah.
fucking thing.
Big pain in the ass. I pulled the rocker panels off. There is no hole in the rocker panel,
Okay.
but the rear bottom section has a rust bubble coming out from the inside about that big. So that whole area,
Also
at
rusted.
minimum, it's going to be 8 inches on either side of that area is going to be rotted from the inside.
Can you
Because if it's coming through, it's 3 layers of metal.
Can you see these areas on the orange car?
No. Oh, I can see them, but they're not bad.
But they're not bad.
Right.
I wonder if that's your race car.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm pondering right now is what I want to do this week is I want to dig online a little bit and see what a realistic approach would be to a cleaner chassis. I also want to call up Auto Atlanta. They are a very
Wait, what do you mean realistic approach to a cleaner chassis? What does that mean? Like buying a new chassis?
buying another chassis.
You've got the orange one.
Yeah, I could do the orange one, so I could do that, but I will at the end of the day have 2 complete drivetrains as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So you would want to put it in another chassis. That's
At the end of the day, I would like to do that. Now, it is a pondering approach. Like, do I sack what I'm doing on this green shell right now? I still have to think about it a little bit. I still would like to get the guy I know from the AMCM to come over and assess it and give me his opinion on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and there's some caveats here, right? Like the green car with the rust, if you cut it out and you weld in a new panel, that is a repair, right? And that is probably completely fine for like a daily driver car. Like you'll never see it, it's hidden, it's not like a huge issue, right? You probably just don't want to track the car.
yeah.
Like you probably just don't want to push the car really hard on track, right?
Yeah.
So like if you wanted the green car to be a daily driver, it could be a really great way to learn how to cut and weld. It could be a good project for that, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But not a track car.
Yeah.
Which is, I know the history of the green car is the track car, so they'd probably want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to be able to drive. Well, the other thing is even if I never put it on a track, I want to be able to drive the car spiritedly and feel comfortable about the car.
Yeah, I don't know if you would ever, even if you drove the car and it felt fine, you'd know that it's there.
Right. And that's like a, and the only real way to fix that rust is you have 2 options. You strip the entire car and you sandblast it, you bead blast it, the whole thing. That's not really the solution though, because you can't get on the inside of the frame rails doing that. You can't really
Not
get inside.
effectively. No, not
Yeah,
effectively.
unless you just start cutting away and cutting away and cutting away, and then you re-weld, which you would have to do anyway. The real way to get rid of all the rust is to dip the car.
That's expensive.
Very expensive.
And a pain in the ass.
Like 30 grand expensive.
And you'd have to strip the whole car.
Yeah, like more than the value of the entire vehicle assembled expensive.
Right.
And so there are some options that I'm weighing here, mostly revolving around the fact of what do I do with this car and what is my next step. But I'm still kind of working through that. I do see it as a good learning test bed in order to be able to weld. It's just a balance of the volume of repair that I have to do is continuously increasing, and I do want to be able to drive one of the vehicles this year.
I think that the orange one is the leading
closest.
candidate. It's the closest.
Right. So, the alternative is I strip the green car completely, and I put the shell on dollies, and I push it back or put
That doesn't count as driving it though. What would putting it on dollies
to move it out of the shop and get the orange car in?
Oh, you wouldn't want to just put the suspension together and get a rolling chassis around?
I could do that.
I think that'd probably be easier because then you can roll it outside too,
Yeah.
like if you need to. And if it's on dollies, you're stuck inside.
Yeah. So there's some balance there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some different stuff that could do or could not do with the car. But that's kind of the update with that.
Well, that blows. You should ask my dad how he plans to handle the Jag, because what he's done is he's just left it in the garage and hasn't touched it in 5 years.
Yeah.
So you could do that.
It's depressing.
I wonder if you could put it next to the Jag in my dad's garage. Okay,
I
granted,
think
I said
would
okay. I
appreciate
tease him, but my dad has like a lot going on at NASA. Like his 9 to 5 is not the same as ours. So like
yeah.
working on the
His
car
is
in
a
your free
7
time
to
is
7.
yeah, his is crazy. He had to. We went and got breakfast, and he was like, "I have to go in tomorrow on Sunday because he has to give a tour to like a congressperson in the BAB." So like, he's working a lot.
Yeah.
So like, sometimes he watches these podcasts, and so I just want to defend his honor.
Yes.
Like I'm just teasing, but
Well, the other problem would be he'd have no space in the garage for my friend to live in if the green car was parked there,
yeah.
which would be problematic.
Well, I think one of the big things that has genuinely like put a pause on it is because he wants to do the car right, and to do that you have to build a rotisserie, and he does not have the space, tooling, or knowledge to do that.
Yeah.
So he's kind of stuck. Like it's tough to get yourself like doing suspension work and like restoration stuff if you know that there's like an ultimate hurdle of like it's gonna cost a lot of money to do, you know?
Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah, bummer.
But that's what I got for the green car
Mm-hmm.
this week. The other 2 notes I have on here is eBay. I still haven't listed more items, but I did manage that magazine was delivered.
Cool.
Um,
Both?
the
first
old
one?
one that was lost.
Cool.
Yeah, I got that one to him. I never got a response whether he got it or not. But I sent it via UPS. And it seems to have been delivered. So
Cool.
hopefully he's happy with it.
Cool.
And actually, that's the only bullet point. That's all I got.
Okay.
Our business is shorter this week just because of my fiascos.
Well, you rolled it into your life update a little bit too.
I did, yeah.
The Mike car and like a little bit on your car. So
Yeah, but this week was really quite a bit of turmoil, and very just unexpected turmoil. You give your hand and they take your arm.
yeah.
So it's just been a little bit tough from that respect.
What is your gut feel on the rust? Like, what's your initial take? Like, obviously, you're gonna find a solution and then do it like a year from now. But like, what feels like the right direction?
The right direction, the logistically correct direction, I think, is to do one of 2 things: is to strip the car completely of everything, and then sell the chassis for a small amount of money to someone else who is more ambitious. And
Mike.
yeah, or who just wants to do stuff like that.
Right.
And some of the stuff I've thought about is people make Miata go-karts, and they're
Mhm.
quite neat.
Mhm.
Doing a 914 go-kart would also be quite neat.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
How would you compare if you stripped it out? It's just the chassis with the rust in it. How does it compare to the other 2 chassis that you have in the storage unit right now?
The other 2 have worse rust than the green car, but the orange car
Okay.
is better than the green car.
Okay. So, could you sell the 2 chassis that you have right now that have worst rust,
Yeah.
and then move the green car, strip the green car, and then move that into its place? Because although it also has rust, it's better than the other 2 ones that have worst rust.
Yeah.
And at least then you get a little bit of cash and you save space.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
It's a great consideration. I haven't thought about it until right now.
Yeah. Well, the reason for keeping the other ones is because you're like, well, I have 2 good ones, then I have like 2 not so good ones. But if you have 3 bad ones and 1 good one, then it's like, okay, we can kind of start to offload some of the bad ones, maybe.
Yeah.
Right, and save up some space.
Yeah.
It does
100%.
blow. It does blow.
It does suck.
But it makes the orange car that much cooler because if it's clean and rolls,
Yeah.
3 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Did you want to put the 6-cylinder in that one?
I don't have a 6-cylinder motor.
I thought we had talked about you
I would
wanting
love
to
to
one.
get one.
Got it. Okay.
Yes, I don't have one yet. I'd love to.
If you sold the junk chassis and stripped the green car and like started to sell more stuff on eBay, or even sold one of the powertrains, because now you only have
Yeah.
the orange car to put a powertrain in, right? Do you think you could like powertrain money plus chassis plus odds and end money? Do you think you could get a 6-cylinder that you
I
could
think
put in
I
the orange
could.
car?
I think I could.
That could
Or
be a
I could get very close to getting one.
That could be a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be a strategy as well. The the alternative is I use the green car to learn to weld and fabricate, you know?
Well, yeah, and I think that that is a better option than learning to weld and fabricate on the other two chassis. Because
Yeah.
I think that even if you did learn on the other two, you would never get it to a point of being like comfortable going into a corner, you know?
Yeah.
But with the green car, if you did want like a cruise around town, like if you welded the panels into that car and fixed up the green car and then sold it to a high school kid, you could say like, "Hey, I did some repairs, but like just don't go crazy with it," right? Because
Mm.
like ultimately, like if you weld a panel into the firewall, it's not like the car is going to be like that much stiffer to where a regular person isn't going to wrap it around a tree. Like they're going
Right.
to crash it or they're going to not. But from your perspective, knowing how to drive, you would feel a difference,
Yeah,
and it would
yeah,
negatively impact the car.
so yeah, that's kind of, obviously still in the loop. That's also a good idea. I hadn't thought about that yet. My bandwidth to think about these problems has been limited.
But it will
Um,
increase shortly.
yeah, hopefully
So
we'll increase shortly.
fingers crossed, at least.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
But that's about what I got with that car.
cool.
The green car, or sorry, the orange car is, obviously clean chassis. It's very enticing from that perspective.
Yeah,
Um, but that's about all I got. A little
cool,
bit of a wash week, but not
cool,
not too bad.
cool.
So, what do you have for business this week?
I don't have a ton either. I kind of do. So
Okay,
the thing is, like, I did a lot this week, but I did a lot in a lot of different categories. So like no single update is that long. But
sure.
we left off last week. We're trying to find a client, a place. They were thinking about land and building a tiny home. None of that really worked out. So then they looked at condos. We found like the perfect condo in
Mm.
Vieira, and they wanted to put in an offer. And so I left the podcast last week with like, we're gonna go write the offer, right?
Yep.
So Grace writes the offer. I can't remember if I signed the paperwork or not, but like Monday, I'm expecting to sign the paperwork, and I'm messaging Grace, and then in the evening, she texts me and she was like, "Hey, just so you know, I got on the phone with them, and they don't want to do an offer. They want us to start looking at land again." And I was like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like we were like there, like we went and saw the place. It was fucking awesome. Like they're ready to put in an offer. Like what the fuck happened?" And she was like, "Well, they're worried that they just haven't seen enough options, and so like they don't know if this is the best one or not, and so they're just like worried that they're not going to have enough time to go see other places while under the inspection period." Now, mind you, if the inspection period is 10 days, you have 10 days to go look at other properties, right? You're retired. You can scroll through Zillow all day long. I have sent you like 100 options. Like if you want to see any of them, we can go see them during the inspection. But if you wait and miss this listing, then that's you can't get it back.
Right.
Um, and so Grace was like, "I know, I told them, but like that's like they just are not comfortable like signing on the dotted line and like making an offer, which you don't want a client to make an offer if they're not serious about it. Totally get that. You don't want to spend money on an inspection if you're not serious about buying the place. I totally get it. That's the right move to make, right? What's frustrating is that I know the area and we have already seen like 15 places. And so you already know the area too. And when I tell you this is the best option that you're going to find, I want you to trust me that it's the best option, right? But I also understand being thorough and like wanting to see everything. Fine. So that night, I sat down and I cast the widest net possible, right? Land? Cool. I'm going to find every piece of land that is in the flood zone that you want in the area that you want, which is like the greater east coast of Florida, mid central east coast, right? We're talking Brevard, Port St. Lucie, Sebastian, and Vero. So I'm going to look at all that area for land that's in the flood zone you want, that's unincorporated, so has no HOA and has no rules. I'm going to look at every condo. I'm going to look at every townhome. I'm going to look at every house that's under like 1,400 square feet and is made of concrete. Like I went through thousands of listings and like manually like checked the box for the ones that match. And the way that I did that is I like cast a really wide net. So I had like 2,000 options. And then I went through and manually like got rid of all the ones that didn't have the flood zone they wanted or didn't have whatever, right? Because you can't manually filter for those things in the MLS. And I tried to get Claude to do it, and Claude wouldn't do it. Because I needed Claude to have access to the MLS and Brevard County Property Appraiser. It does not have access to the property appraiser, and I was able to download data from the MLS because it can't get into the MLS. So I had to download data. I just couldn't get it to work. So I just brute forced it. I was pissed because I was like, you want to see every option? I'm going to show you every option. And so like I went through and I like just grinded through 2,000 properties over the course of 2 days.
Yeah.
And so we boiled it down. of the 650 raw land options that I found, I narrowed it down, and then Grace further narrowed it down to 3. So of 650 pieces of land for sale, 3 of them fit the criteria. Sent those to him. Of the, it was 1,000 homes that I found. It was 1,091 homes. I went through all of those, and like, I think that we wound up with like 80 that were good. And then Grace further narrowed that down to like 50. And so we sent him those too. And so we were like, literally, like, we have seen like literally fucking everything. These are all the options. And so Grace said, give us your top 5 and we'll go see them. Five condos, and then we can see all the land if you want. And he said, okay, well, the top 5 is too narrow, so I gave you the top 13. Okay, we'll go see them. We'll go see 13. That'll fine. We'll go see all of them. We're just gonna do it. We're gonna be thorough, right? And so Grace scheduled like 7 of them in the middle of the week. Grace scheduled 7 of them for Saturday, and I was like, well, what do we do about the remaining 6? And she was like, we're just gonna have to do them next weekend. And I was like, nope, I don't want it. If we find a better option on Saturday, which I know we won't, because I know the one we saw last week was the best option, we're gonna have to wait another week. We could lose that other property. Schedule them on Friday. It's an off Friday. Usually I go in on the off Fridays, but I was gonna go in on this off Friday to put together my promo packet stuff to show my functional manager.
Sure.
And I was like, just fill it with showings. And so we saw all 13 properties Friday and Saturday.
Wow.
And at the end of the day on Saturday,
Nice.
dude, they fucking sucked. All of them sucked.
Really?
Exactly like I thought. On Friday, we went down to Vero and we saw a couple condos that were like from the 1970s, had 1970s styling, not what our client wants. And then yesterday, we started in Titusville. And we went from Titusville to Port St. John to Cocoa to Merritt Island to Melbourne to Vieira to Palm Bay. And we ended in Palm Bay. We saw none of them were as good. None of them were as good as this other one. And so like we just volumed. We just volumed it, right? We just hit it. And
that's
so
awesome.
yes.
Super good. Cool.
And so this morning we wake up and he's like, okay, let's write an offer for the one that we saw last week.
Cool.
And I signed the paperwork. We sent it over to him. So like we need a signature from him and then we'll send it over. But like if for whatever reason he tries to back out again, now there's no excuse. Like now we have seen all the options. You are familiar with all of Brevard.
Yeah.
Like this is it, dog. Like if you don't want to buy it, that's okay. You might just not be ready to buy right now. You can keep living where you're living and you can call us when you're ready. But like this is it.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of my week, was just like
right
through listings.
Clicking.
But I think we have, and I'm not like trying to convince him to buy something, but I know, and I am confident that this is the best place in Brevard. It's fucking sick. In case this airs before we close, I don't want to talk about it specifically, but like generally speaking, for condos that have HOAs with like pools and stuff like that, it costs like $500 to $700 a month, right? There's one in Port St. John that we saw yesterday. Their community center is just the pool and it's in the parking lot.
Oh, nice.
And
that's classy.
They charge $750 a month. There's one on Sheridan, right? Which is also not the one that we're looking at, but it's awesome. It's got like a gym, it's got a pool, it's got a hot tub, it's got tennis courts, it's got racquetball courts, it's got whatever, right? They charge like $500 a month. So you get way more bang for your buck, right? The best place with more amenities than anywhere else, with nicer amenities than anywhere else. I mean, this is like Lansing Island level amenities in Beachside, right? He doesn't want to live Beachside, so it's not an option. But like with that level of amenities, it's $650 a month, and insurance is included. Insurance is included in your HOA fee. So like,
wow,
fairly priced for how much you get.
Yeah.
The unit is priced well. The unit looks clean. The real estate agent for that unit in particular is awesome. So like, I would like to work with them if given the choice, because I like to work with good agents. So like, I'm not pushing them to sell, but I am adamant that this is the best option for what they want.
Yeah.
And this person is a little indecisive. I've worked with them before on things, and like I know that they can struggle to commit to something because they struggle to visualize things ahead of time.
Sure.
And so like sometimes they need permission from someone else to feel a certain way. And like Grace and I have said, trust us, this is it. And they were apprehensive. And so then we went and saw all the other best options in Brevard, which proved that is it. So
awesome.
that's our client. I need a drink.
That's a great update. I think that's awesome. Super happy to see the volume kick there.
Me too. So that's good. Hopefully we submit the offer today. I signed it this morning, so
Okay.
fingers crossed. I also think it's really well priced, which sometimes if you find the perfect home and it's way overpriced, you have a problem trying to get that to work out. But we ran a CMA and like our value is only like 9 grand below where it's priced right now. And I'm sure we can find a happy medium in there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Short form content. Last week, I decided I was like, okay, I'm going to stop fucking around. I'm going to do Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
I'm comfortable enough with my short form content that I'm just going to do a short form content style video in front of my plant wall, and then I'm going to put that on Facebook, right?
Sure.
And I don't feel super comfortable like with all the scripts and stuff like that. So like I want to start with a Facebook ad that feels natural to me, and then I'll go from there. Because I'm sure I'll make the one that feels good to me and that I like and that I'm confident in, and I'm going to waste money on it. It's not going to work. And so then I'll get desperate enough to start trying other things, right? And in my inaction, I have seen that for whatever reason, for the first time in my life, when I say that I want to do something or I'm going to do something, I just don't fucking do it for one reason or another. It just doesn't fucking happen. And so, like a dog with a pill, I have to wrap it in cheese and trick myself into doing it, right? So, this week, I wrote just from my brain, I wrote as if I were writing a video for TikTok. I wrote a Facebook ad.
Okay.
And then I filmed it just like I filmed my TikTok things, right? I filmed 5 of them, and then one of them has 2 different hooks, right? And 3 of them are different, and then 2 of them follow the same kind of theme, right? And as I was going, I was like, oh, like I can probably drop the first of the 5 because like it's not as relevant, so like they wouldn't all go in the same campaign. And then I was like, no, fucking shut up, just do them, and post all of them, and like just get them on, and get it over with, like rip the Band-Aid off. But some of them I'm really excited about.
Awesome. Cool.
I ideated from my brain because I was trying to think of the value equation as I was writing it. And I was trying to think of what's something that is a hook that people can't look past, gets me clients, like for sure will get me responses, right? And is also a benefit to the people, right? And the answer is the hook is I will pay for your home inspection. No one's skipping that. If you own a home, immediately I'm speaking to homeowners, not people who are looking to buy, but I'm speaking to someone who already owns a home. And immediately after that, I start talking about how the biggest mistake that people make is that they assume that the buyer should pay for the inspection. So you negotiate, you settle for less money than what you want. The buyer gets an inspection, and then they negotiate again. So you stress twice as much and you lose money twice. But if you choose to work with me, then when you're ready to sell, I will pay for your home inspection up front. So you get free money. We negotiate once, you lose money once. I didn't say it that way, but like, you don't lose money twice, right? And that's like and then there's like a call to action at the end, right? That's the premise of those. And I really like the way that works. Home inspections are expensive. They're like $400 to $500, right? And so if it costs me, $200 to get a lead from Facebook ad spend, and then it costs me another $500 to pay for the inspection, bummer. But if I'm making $5 grand from that client, I don't care. Like I'll pay for that, right?
Works, yeah.
It's a hook that I know I'm so confident that it will get a response, even if they don't turn into clients. And I'm sick of not having that. So I'm just going to run with it. So I filmed them. I reinstalled CapCut on my computer. I actually have missed CapCut. When I was doing the TikTok videos, I have to edit on TikTok, then I have to edit on Instagram. I don't like doing shit with the screen.
Yeah.
I like editing with the keyboard. I know. And so I enjoy working with CapCut so much. I think that when I do my social media videos in the future, I'm just going to upload through Google Photos, and like I'll edit like 5 of them at a time on my computer. Like I'll film 5 or 10 and then I'll edit them on my computer, and then I'll release them more slowly, kind of like how we do with this. Because I think it's just more manageable and enjoyable for me to like do work in chunks rather than like a video every day. It takes too much time. And so I posted more short form content this week on top of filming the Facebook ads, and posted it. And I have more short form content that I'm going to edit in CapCut and then post this week as well. My Facebook ads are all edited and done and ready to go. The videos are ready. And last night I finished that at like 10 p.m. And I was like, okay, cool. Now I can go get them in Facebook and like, get everything sorted. But I know that when I go in and start writing the ad copy and doing the headlines and shit like that, I'm going to take forever with it. So I decided I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm going to get a good sleep. And then my whole second half of Sunday after the podcast is going to be to get this right in the Facebook ad manager.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do after this. Is I'm going to go upload all the videos and start running them. I think I'll have them in different ad sets. I'll have the inspection ones in one ad set, and then the other ones in another ad set, and then I'm going to give the campaign money, and I'm going to say like allocate to whatever you
Yeah. Well,
want.
yeah. In the documents I sent,
Mhm.
there is notes
Mhm.
on how to run. The AI I created does not have those.
Okay.
It's in the notes separately there. You
Mhm.
can throw them into AI
Mhm.
and have it go through, but I believe that original email also does have a directory within the email body of what document says what.
Yeah.
I should say that in there, but then if you do have any questions or you want a review on it or something like that, there's two options there. One, we can get together and look at it.
Mhm.
The second option is that you can make me a co-owner of the account and I can
Mhm.
view it from my
Cool.
computer. What I'd recommend, especially initially, is like let's just look at it in person,
Mhm.
because I have had cases where the accounts get shared and
Mhm.
then Facebook will flag it.
Got it.
So that's what I would recommend. But I'm happy to help with that. Just
Sure.
let me know when you're ready to run. So
What I'll do is after this, I'll go set it all up and then I'll save it as drafts. I won't activate them. But
yeah,
I'll do it the way I think that it should be done.
yeah,
You'll go home and do your stuff, and then I'll like call you and screen share, or we can meet up in person or whatever to
yeah.
like actually post them.
Perfect.
And
That
we'll go
works.
from there. And
Awesome.
if that ends up being a meeting tomorrow after work, we can do that too. It doesn't have to be tonight.
Sure.
Because I got other stuff to do too. When we were doing showings yesterday, the top agent at our brokerage, when you show a home, it for some reason, like it's customary for you to leave your business card so that
Hmm.
the listing agent knows that you came by. But like you got my request on the MLS to do a showing anyways. Like you do know I came by. Why? Who fuck leaves cards, right? Doesn't matter. This guy left a card. I really liked his business card. I like the design. I like the layout. I like the
Mm.
cut. And so I figured out what company makes those cards. And I really want. I'm almost out of my business cards, which is why this is
Oh.
like sparking my interest. But they're really cool, and so I'm gonna look at replicating that
Oh, cool.
design and getting the same thing.
Solid.
So like if I finish with the ads, I have short form content to edit, and then I have that to do too. So like you don't have to feel pressured to like come help me with shit.
Oh, well, I mean, just let me know. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
offering.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's my business update. That's everything.
Very cool.
Yeah. What lessons did you learn this week?
So for lessons learned this week, I discussed a little bit of kind of the vague details of my life situation this week, and I think most of the lessons have stemmed from that. The first thing that comes to mind is God forbid two different people live two different lives. And this person has a fair amount of debt that they're paying back.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have like 30 grand in car debt.
Oh,
My
true.
Lexus payment's like 30
Oh,
grand.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Different than
Um,
credit card debt, but
yeah, yeah,
still.
yeah. So they have a fair amount of debt that they're paying back. And I have some like just at this point very manageable credit card, just kind of normal
Mhm.
like rollover month,
Right,
right?
right.
Just have a very manageable. That I've done a good job condensing down and transferring around to
Mhm.
where it's manageable for me. Bonus, I had $1,200 of credit card points. I didn't realize
Oh, dude,
this
fuck
week.
yeah.
I had
That's
redeemed.
so many in credit
I
card
know.
points. Holy
It
shit.
was like a full year I'd never redeemed it,
Yeah, yeah.
and I just forgot about it.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, credit cards do have points, right?" And I went on, and it said 120,000 points. And I was like, "Oh," and thought in my head, I was like, "Oh, maybe every 1,000 is $1 or whatever." I thought it was 120 bucks,
Uh-huh.
right? And I was like, "Oh, whatevs."
Uh-huh.
And then I went to redeem it, and I was like, "Would you like to redeem $1,200 towards your credit card bill?" And I was
Absolutely, I
like,
do.
"Absolutely, I would. That's sick."
Hell yeah.
So that was kind of a happy moment. And then I
That's
went on
funny.
Amex. I was like, I wonder how much I have there. I have like $38.
Dude, Amex has been good to me.
Yeah,
I get groceries, and so in April I had like $700 or something, which is
yeah.
great, but I haven't checked it since April. So maybe I also have a bunch of money.
I think I redeemed them like a few months back. That's why I don't have a lot, and I don't use
Gotcha.
that card a ton.
Yeah. I
Um,
use mine every week
yeah,
for
yeah.
groceries and
And for
gas.
whatever reason, I still mostly use my Chase. I don't know why.
Sure.
But I did use the Amex quite a bit on my trip because of the gas points.
Right.
Um,
I
so
did the same.
yeah. So it's just a balance in that sense. But um, the lesson learned here is like it, I really do oftentimes I fail, but I really do try and stick myself out for other people around me, regardless of whether I know them really well or I don't. I really do try to do that. And it's disappointing to say the least when it feels as though I'm taking advantage of that. Um, and my comfort and well-being is affected by that.
Yeah.
By me trying to do a favor, not just like, oh, it's a minor inconvenience, but like, no, this is actually like fundamentally changing the quality of my life.
It's a major favor.
And it's not like it's inherent to the other person's like presence. It's like, no, they are making choices that are affecting the quality of my life, despite me choosing to help them. And so that's really troubling. It's sad. In some ways, it's frustrating. In other ways, but what really sticks out to me is, you and I both are hard workers, and we work at our 9 to 5s, and then we have another form of a gig, right? You have a real business. I have the spirit of a business. But regardless, right? We are working on something that is in the future or working to be something greater for our lives, right? And that's why I work on the car stuff, because that's the direction I've wanted to go after my troubles in ecom.
Right.
And I look at this other person I'm helping, and they have a fair amount of debt, and I haven't come up to them and asked why they choose to play video games after work, or why they choose not to work extra hours, or
Why they don't have 2 jobs.
why don't they have 2 jobs, or why do they hang out in my house and spend 3-4 hours talking with my girlfriend and trying to convince her that I'm not being a great boyfriend.
Mhm.
Um, and it's really like shocking
Mhm.
in many ways. Because although I am, I'm not around a lot, and sometimes I joke like, "Oh, I'm not that great of a boyfriend," right? Because I'm not home or whatever. I'm not home all the time, or I'm not
But you
doing
have an
this and that.
agreement.
I do,
Doesn't
and
understand.
it's worked well.
Right.
And
You're not a
I do
conventional boyfriend.
no, right,
But
exactly.
it's okay to
And
not
that's
have
why
a
I make those
conventional
jokes.
relationship. If you wanna
Right.
be an exceptional, you have to be
Yeah,
the
God
exception.
forbid 2 different people live 2 different lives,
Right.
right?
If you wanna be exceptional, you have to be the exception.
Yeah, and I still actively try to do good things, and I try to be a good person and care for the people around me. And oftentimes I fall short. Sometimes I don't fall short and I do really well, but I'm always trying to improve.
Mhm.
And it's really surprising to me how quickly um, people can be uh, feel entitled or become entitled to
Yep.
a space. It's really surprising to me, and I was listening to there's a really I strong
Entitled's a good word for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
There was a new podcast released with Andrew Tate and Jack Neal.
Okay.
I don't know if
Was
you
this
know.
the emergency podcast? Where I think Jack Neal and Andrew Tate filmed a podcast a while ago,
Yes.
and Andrew Tate was like, "If I'm arrested or killed or something, release the podcast." I
Yes,
think
they
that's what
filmed
this
it a
one
while
is.
ago. Yes,
Right.
they
I
released
haven't seen it,
recently.
but I've heard about it.
Yeah. So that was just released. It is interesting from the framework of it's essentially a telling of the full story of what's been going on from start to finish,
Mm.
which we've only really heard in pieces as it's happened.
Okay.
But there's been no like set place or resource that you can go to and be like, this is the story from start to finish.
Got it.
That's what that podcast is.
Dude, I
It's
gotta listen to that.
interesting from just a logistical perspective, and
Right.
kind of like a what's happened
Right.
perspective, right? The podcast I find much more interesting. Oh, that one's interesting. It's good. It's a good
Mhm.
listen. The one I find much more interesting is the one before that.
The Jack Neal podcast?
It's
before that?
also a Jack Neal podcast with Andrew Tate, but it was
Okay.
filmed before that.
It
And
was filmed before.
it was filmed before. So the most recent one that was released was also filmed early,
Okay.
right? The one I'm referring to that's more interesting was filmed before that one was even filmed,
Okay.
and it was released on time.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm following.
So that one, right? And he's had others
Yep.
prior as well, but that one in particular, Andrew goes into a lot of detail about, and like if you can read between the lines, it's very, very interesting what he talks about in terms of like how the world works, and like his perspective. Very, very interesting. And one of the things that he talked about was people will convince themselves of into a psyop, right? Like you will work a 9 to 5 or something, right? For example, and you will convince yourself that like this is my box, this is how I operate through life and whatever, right? But then there's the other side of the psyop that feels like the way out, like the Jews are the problem, for
Sure.
example, right? And then you're transferred from that psyop into another psyop of
Mhm.
Jews are ruining my life. I can't go to the gym because of the Jews, right? Like
Right.
there's this like
Right.
this layer of like no rational thinking.
You
but
box yourself in.
you box yourself in, and he talks about it, and he's like 99% of the people out there are in a prison, and then they jump into another cell, and they say they're no longer in the cells because the walls are a different color.
Mm,
And it's
interesting.
really interesting. It was really interesting for him to talk about that. And then he said something else too that was really interesting. He said that in reality, the way the world really works is that if you really wanted to get out, you would.
Mhm.
And it's like you don't have like people can say that they don't have this and they want, or they would like to have this, or they'd like to have that, or they'd like to have this, but to truly want something and
Dude,
really
I'm
go for it.
experiencing it now. I haven't filmed Facebook ads. I started writing them in fucking February. Like, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I've had this too.
Yep.
And to look at them, and it's like it it makes, if I'm first note, it makes me reflect on my own life and what changes I could make,
Mhm.
right? One of the things that's kind of come out of this week is that regardless of where it stemmed from or whatever it is, I think that I can put a little bit more effort and time into my relationship with Sammy, and I don't make it from a non what from a non like scheduled destructive perspective, but to just show my affection and my
Sure.
care a little bit more.
Sure.
And one of the things that I discussed doing with her would be to exercise and work out together.
Mhm.
And because that's something that I've wanted to
Mhm.
do, but I haven't done. But as of recently, I've felt this kind of like a little bit compelled to be like, no, I want to be able. I really want
Right.
this thing, right? For a very long time, I was fine with the way I was, and like I would like to be a little bit stronger. I'd like to be a little bit this, but when I really want something, I change it, right? Senior year of college, I lost 40 pounds in 6 months,
Yep.
whatever it is, right? Because I really wanted that.
Yep.
Um,
And now you both work at Blue Origin, so you can go to the Blue Origin gym together, right? You guys have a gym
yeah,
out there?
we don't have the gym in our building, but
But could she get to your building to do
she
that?
can, but it's 25 minutes extra going north.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay. I thought you guys were working like on the same floor or something.
We are, but I'm also transferred to a different building, so I just happen to be transferred to the building that she's in right now.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
I see.
But I mean, regardless of that, something I proposed was just running on the beach.
There you go.
You know,
Yeah.
something that's just a good little bit of exercise, something
Mhm.
like that. And it'll all work out. It'll be fine. But the for the to kind of get back a little bit to what Tate said on the podcast. Um, he was like, a lot of people, say they want something, but they don't really want it, and they jump from psyop box to psyop box without realizing this. And the people who make it look look at all the other people around them who are stuck in the psyop box or a psyop box, and those people don't even realize they're stuck in the psyop box, but yet they're pointing the fingers and yelling at the people outside, the people who have
Mhm.
made it, right?
Mhm.
And you look down, and he talks about it, and he's like, sometimes I look down at all the people I've tried to help with my school and the fundraising that I've done, et cetera, and I think I could have just lived a normal life and not helped anyone,
Yeah.
and not been, and people call me a sellout online and all this stuff. And he's like, if you wanted to see a real sellout, I'll show you a sellout, right?
Mm.
I'll go make Hollywood movies,
Sure.
hang out with A celebrities and chill,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because he's fought for whatever he believes in, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. He's fought for what he believes in.
Right.
And so it's been a really interesting perspective for me to see, like, some people really do live in the style box. And I think to an extent, like I've listened to this podcast like 3 times,
Mhm.
because the first time I listened to it, I was like, okay, like I get some of this stuff. I think I'm getting the message. Then I listened to it a second time, and I was like, okay, I missed some stuff. And now I'm listening to it a third time, and I'm like, oh, I'm starting to really get it.
Right.
Because I don't. I don't want to be in that box, and I think I'm starting to understand where those boxes are for me.
Hmm.
I'm starting to see with a little bit more clarity what I can do to break out of those.
Where do you think your box is? Where do you think the walls are?
I think the walls are fundamentally it's challenging. To kind of pair with this, another thing he talks about on the podcast is it's hard for him to identify the walls.
His own walls?
His own walls, because he talks about it and he's like, your Instagram is monitored. And he's like, if you think about someone high level like me, like there is likely an agent or several agents who are assigned to catering my social media and what I see.
Mhm.
Right. And he's like, I have a really hard time believing stuff. He's like, when I scroll through my phone and I look online and I see this happened or this crazy thing has happened or that person got married or whatever, he's like, is this set up for me? Like,
Mm.
is this just genuine life? Is this
Right.
normal, or is this set up for me? And so I kind of look at my life, and obviously I don't have an agent who's watching me, right? Or at least I don't think I would. I'm not going to flatter myself that much. But
It's not impossible. I'm positive that there are people who look at me, and I know because I've been investigated before for my clearances,
sure,
and they look into people in my life. So like there could be
yeah,
genuine.
there could be, right?
I don't know if they'd control your algorithm, but they'd be monitoring you,
Right.
right? Like the
But
whole like the CIA is following me. Like yeah, I signed up for that.
right.
Yeah.
And so I think that my shortcomings have been in bursts, where especially where I get really invested in things outside of the business window, right? Like every 8 months to 10 months, I'll get really invested in the latest and greatest of politics, like flock cameras or whatever.
Sure.
And I'll have like a 3 week stint of that. And then I'll get all upset about the world around me,
Yeah.
and it will like deteriorate my quality. And then I get back to like, okay, like let me just focus on the things that are like right in front of me, right?
Right.
And so there is that sense. I feel like I walk myself into that box, right? And so I've made an active attempt to kind of relieve myself of that a little bit.
Yeah. I've done the same. I like occasionally learning. Like there was a podcast I listened to on Flock last week, and I mentioned it,
Sure.
right? Since then, I haven't really like learned much more about it, right? Like I watched
Yeah.
the JD Vance podcast on Joe Rogan, and
Mm.
then I watched an analysis of that JD Vance podcast. So like the opposing perspective,
Yeah.
right? And like that's kind of it. And like instead of like doing a deep dive into like James Fishback, right? I
Sure.
know that he was in Melbourne last night speaking because
Oh, yeah, I
I
saw
follow
some
him on
posts,
social
yeah.
media. And I was like, oh, like maybe I should go to that because I'd like to hear what he has to say about the flock cameras, right? And then I wound up working on the Facebook stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
I have also recognized that I get into like rabbit holes, and it's better if I just like casually consume content to stay in the know, but not like deep dive.
Yeah.
So similar thing.
Yeah.
Not issue, but similar.
Yeah.
thing.
It's a similar kind of box, and
Right.
it's so easy to fall in.
Yeah, politics is polarizing.
So I think that's one of my kind of like the boxes that I've fallen into. What makes it challenging is that as I've started to notice it, I think that you and I have noticed other people around us throughout the years who have kind of pushed themselves into a box where they feel as though they are incapacitated in their ability to do productive things because of X problem. Right.
Victim mentality. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And by listening to that podcast, it makes those things stand out a lot more, which I think is like a blessing and a curse in a way. Because like in a way, it's like you see if you're relatively aware to it, you still have a flavor of like I can still work with this person actively, and
Yeah.
like it's fine, it's fine. But like the more you become aware of it, the more you feel as though you want to care for that other person. But if they're unreceptive to it, it feels like you just get like it feels as though you would kind of just be getting the finger pointed at you, like, hey, like who are you to judge, right?
Yeah.
And so like it's this odd dynamic, but really really interesting podcast that I do recommend listening to.
Yeah.
But I see this person living in my house, and it's like I don't think they realize that they're really stuck in a box, and I think they kind of like the box that they're living in, right?
A lot of
And
people like the box.
a lot of people like the box, and I think like fundamentally, like a lot of people like the box, even if they say they don't like the box, and the fundamental evidence to suggest that is the fact that they stay in the box,
Yeah.
right?
Even if you open the door, they don't.
Even if you open the door. Um, and so that's been kind of one of my lessons learning this week, I'll say.
Yeah.
One of my lessons learned, past tense, would be you give your hand and they take your arm.
Don't help people anymore.
Well, it's hard because it's like I want to help people, and it's like inherent, like to me, I want to help.
Yep.
Um, but it's
Did Christian ever tell you the story about the homeless guy he helped?
no.
You know Christian Dawson?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He When we were in college together, we were at rowing practice and we were riding in the launch, so like watching practice happen. And I forget how the topic came up, but we were talking about homeless people and like if you're in your car and you've got a bunch of cash on you, you just got your paycheck for the week, right? And let's just say it's all cash, and a homeless guy wants $1, do you give it to him? Because $1 isn't that much to you, but it could change his day, right?
Sure.
And Christian was like, no. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, one time I was walking down the street and there was a homeless guy who like asked for $1. And I said, like, I'll do you one better. And so he was like, if I gave you a ton of money right now, like, what would you do with it? The guy was like, I would start a car cleaning business. And Christian was like, okay, let's go to Walmart. And so they went to Walmart and he bought him like the bucket and the soap and the sponge and like all this, like all the whiz bangs he needs to like do the car cleaning business. Right? It was like $200 and stuff. And the homeless guy was like really thankful and whatever. And Christian left. And then like 2 years later, Christian was at a bar after like midterms or something. And the homeless guy was at the bar and he still looked homeless. And Christian was like, "Oh, hey, like how is the car washing business going?" And the homeless guy was like, "What?" And Christian was like, "Yeah, I got you all the car washing equipment. Like, how was it?" And the guy was like, "Fuck off," and he like left.
Wow.
And he's still homeless, still
Wow.
homeless.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, I think the lesson there isn't like don't help people, but
Right.
it's people are in their situations for a reason. Sometimes they want to be there, sometimes they don't want to be there, but
Sometimes they say they don't want to be there, but their actions don't align with getting out.
exactly. Right. And like sometimes you can help someone, like you can lead a horse to water and you can't make it drink, right? Like you can buy them, or like they can tell you they want a car washing business. You can like call their bluff and like help them get the equipment that they need. And then they're just going to go back to Walmart, return all the items and buy alcohol with it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's sad, but some people are in that situation for a reason. And no matter how much help you give them, they can't get out. And I think the worst part about this is that there are people who are genuinely just like unlucky and are in a tough spot. And when you offer help, they make the most of it. Like, dude, there's so many videos I see on like TikTok or Instagram Reels of like someone came up to a homeless guy and they like got him a haircut and they bought him a suit and then he was able to go get a job at like Walmart or whatever, right? And like they showed him where the homeless shelter was, like they help him and then like they change their lives.
Right.
And it's a dice roll on whether someone is actually going
Yeah.
to change their life or not.
Right. 100%. Um, it's another gripe that I've had with it this week is I haven't been to church in about 5 months.
Mhm.
The reason being is that I still believe that God is real. I still believe that God exists.
Sure.
The challenge that I faced was I couldn't help but seeing that a similar flavor of this problem was also present in the church, where there was a strong disconnect between what I felt as though scripture was clearly saying and people's actions.
Mhm.
And there was a very disheartening level of hypocrisy, hypocriteness, right?
Hypocrisy is the right
Yeah,
word. Yeah.
hypocrisy within that, and it was hard.
Mhm.
It was hard. And there were other reasons too. Um, and the guy who's staying at my house right now, he's like says that he's like very very dedicated Christian.
Hmm.
Um, and I've started to weigh that very loosely in my assessment of people's character. Um, because I see people who do not claim they are Christian, who act in what would be traditional Christian manners, right?
Sure.
Let's say just like
I'm one of them.
decent moral values,
Yep.
and good moral practices in life, right? I
I'm
see
I'm
those
not
people.
I'm not religious, and I feel like I would be like a role model Christian.
And
Love thy neighbor, don't covet thy neighbor's
like
wife.
there's many things that within the right, not all of the Bible is something that you and I practice, right?
Right.
But there are many things within there that are very valuable.
Yep.
That you or and I or other people around me I see execute very very well, and then I see people who claim or say that they are Christian or deeply Christian, and then I see like very clear contradictions between what like someone who follows the Bible would do and what their actions are.
Right.
It's very, very clear. And maybe they're not clear to them, and maybe that's why they're doing it.
I don't think it's clear to them,
I
because
don't think
I
so
think
either.
I think you can rationalize any position, and I think that this particular person could be rationalizing their position. Frequently, people will downplay their failures. Like, they won't recognize that they really fucked up, and they won't really take account for it, right? So like they kind of like don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like the guy who owns a Lamborghini, but he's like way over leveraged on it, and he doesn't have income because he sells
Sure.
courses because he's trying to make money by taking advantage of people, is very different to the guy who started a course because he genuinely wants to help people get out of the matrix, and he buys like Bugattis and stuff to try to show people that like there is material success if you get out of the matrix, right? But it's like showing them that there is light at the end of the tunnel if you trust me now,
Yeah.
right? Like there's two different, like the same situation can be viewed from two different perspectives, and it's all based on intent, right? And I think that the trouble is that sometimes people don't really know what their intent is. So like maybe someone is trying to save someone because it looks like they're in a bad relationship from the outside, right? Because from your perspective, a relationship looks one way and you're seeing it look a different way.
Yeah.
And so instead of recognizing that different relationships look different for everybody, right? Apart from like, abuse is different. But, if you just see someone where like, great example, we had friends over a few months ago, right? And it was for like a breakfast thing. I don't even remember what the event was. It was Easter. We had people over for Easter, and like everyone made like plates and stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And a new couple, we're friends with one of the members of the couple. They recently got a new partner. We invited them over. They came over, and the girl had made 2 plates of food for her and the boyfriend. And the boyfriend, she was like, "Which one do you want?" "I don't care. Like you take either." And he was like, "Which one do you want?" She was like, "I don't know, the left one." He was like, "I want the left one." Then he took it. That's very strange to me.
Yeah, that's odd.
I can't think of a reason for that other than control. It didn't seem like fun, jokey. And even if it was fun, jokey, like, why would you
It's just
want
odd.
anything other than for your partner to have what they want, right?
Right.
That's strange. That's a red flag to me, right? But if a couple is operating in like, for example, they both hang out at the kava bar every night, right?
Okay.
They never open their laptops. They just hang out. I'm not going to go to my friend, half of
Right.
the couple, and say that person is bad for you because you're not working, because you're hanging out instead of working on stuff, right? Even though Grace and I choose to work, that doesn't mean other couples are the same way. When I was telling Grace about your current situation, I was like, yeah, this person works a regular 9 to 5, and then after work they just like eat food and play video games. And Grace habitually was like, gross. And I was like, I mean, that's most people. And she was like, no, I know. It's just like I've come to be accustomed to a different style of living.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, because like she used to live that way. Like most people live that way. And like her living with me for 2 years has completely changed fundamentally how her like gut reaction to this kind of thing is. Like normal people after work, like they hang out, they just relax because they worked hard that day at work, or they feel like they worked hard at that day at work, and like what they want to do is relax, and that's their box, and they're happy there, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to leave them.
Yeah.
Some people you just have to leave them.
It's yeah, I try to not judge people on the way they live their lives, and it's interesting how easily other people who have no place will judge how I live my life.
And their judgment doesn't matter unless the person being judged makes it matter. And I think you do a really good job of not making it matter,
Yeah.
right? Like if I insult your purple hair because purple looks bad on you, you don't give a shit, right? But if I tell you that I'm trying to think of an insult. You're an idiot for driving a BMW because it's not reliable, right? Maybe that stings a little bit because the BMW isn't that reliable. And
It's also kind of truthful.
it's a little truthful, right? And it is hurtful because I am applying a judgment and a criticism on you for something that is true, right? Disregard the hypocrisy of me driving the Camaro, which is less reliable every day, right? But like it hurts because it has some truth to it, and the way that you react to it dictates how effective that judgment is, right? And I think that part of the current issue is that a little bit of the judgment is being taken seriously here.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Not
take
by
it
you.
serious-
Not
take
by
it
you.
se- you know, it's taken. Yes, right.
Yeah.
As a result of that, I have to take it seriously.
That's true.
Which is challenging.
Have you ever heard the perspective on people's widespread political beliefs in that they aren't their beliefs, they've just heard it from someone else, so
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
parroting
yeah,
it?
yeah,
It's kinda like that.
yeah,
It's like, do you really think that way, or did you hear someone else say it and give you their opinion and how
yeah.
you
And I
believe
mean,
it?
I think in this case, you know, the you know, I can do better in facets of my life, and I'm happy to do so. My real gripe comes from the fact that I'm sad that it wasn't brought up to me by this by
Right,
my
right, right.
girlfriend in this case, right? I'm sad that she didn't come forth to me, with these things, and like whether maybe she had a little bit of a realization because of the conversation she had with this
Mhm.
this friend who's staying at my house or whatever, like whatever it is. It is sad that like it didn't come up earlier and it didn't come to fruition earlier, and like maybe she didn't realize it or whatever. And I think that we have a really good framework working forward to where she can bring those things up more easily to me, or she feels more comfortable doing so, right?
Yeah,
Or I've at least reiterated that like, hey, like if something's not working, like bring it up to me.
yeah.
I feel as though I'm relatively open about that. I'm just
Dude,
it's upsetting to me that there's a catalyst in the room that is causing the turmoil,
yeah,
right? That's what's really hard to me, and I told Sammy that as well. That's really what the main trouble is. The trouble isn't the fact that you have an issue you want to work through. The trouble is that um, this is coming up because of someone else in my space, and then there's additional problems on layered on top of that because both her and I feel as though he's approached her in a way that is disrespectful.
right.
And so that's
In
really
her own home,
yes,
which is the worst part
yes,
because you're in your safe space. You're doing it in your
right.
safe space.
Like I'm
On top of it being
this is
inappropriate, right?
right.
Right.
And so there's a line that's been drawn,
Mhm.
and if it's crossed, then the 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 departing of him from my space will be expedited.
And it's tough because like sometimes you have a conversation with someone and you realize that you have had an issue for a while and you haven't realized it and you're only
Yeah,
realizing it now because someone's bringing it up.
right. And I think that's what the situation is with Sammy.
Right.
Right.
Other times you are being convinced that that's the case because of someone's ulterior motive.
Right, and I had no perception on that
Right.
because I didn't know, and
Right.
I didn't know what the situation was going on. All I had seen is that this person staying in my home is approaching me and my girlfriend in a way that I kind of dislike.
Right.
And then Sammy brought something up to me, and then I'm like, okay, like where is this coming from? I don't have the lack of perspective. Sammy and I talked. It's all good and dandy. Like
Right.
we have a great solution. I do love and care about her very much, and I want us to have a good relationship. And if
Right.
she's not feeling X, Y, and Z or whatever is going on, I'm happy to work through that and help her because I do really care about her. And
Mhm.
part of it was like, oh, like I don't want to bring stuff up to you because we're working all the time. And I'm like, well, I've asked you to like interrupt me. Like if something's going on, like it becomes number one priority.
Yep.
Like if something's going on, like I will come home immediately
Yeah.
and address it and help.
Grace and I have the same issue.
It's like
She doesn't want to bother me if I'm working
yeah, like
about
no,
important shit.
like if something's going on, like
Yep.
bother me.
Yep.
Like that this is like not a problem,
Mhm.
right? Like it becomes the number one like thing in my life, and like I want to be able to make this better, and I want to make it work.
Right.
Um, and so I think that we've like very fundamentally established that at this point. I don't know if that was clear enough before, but I think it's very much clear enough now. So now we have a good foundation working forward, or at least we both recognize that there's a good foundation working forward.
Right.
In terms of this person living at my house, just kind of needs to fuck off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm very patient. I have I have a line that I've drawn in the sand, and I would like to not draw another one
Right.
because drawing another one forces them to leave, and that puts them in a bad position.
Yeah.
Um, I'm doing my absolute best beyond what I think should be my best
Right.
in order to help this person. And so there's a very, very clear boundary at this point.
Right.
At least in my own mind, not one that I've iterated to them, because if it's iterated to them, it loses me the ability to give them a chance because in the process of telling them why, I have to force them to go because I cannot be at home
Right.
24/7 to monitor.
Right.
And so that's kind of where that line is. But it's hard because
So you're gonna wait for one more offense and then kick him out?
Um, if there's some sort of discomfort in the home, or one of us feels as though they're disrespected in some way, then it will be that.
Got it.
But for the time being, I'm pushing him very hard to find a place as soon as possible.
Right.
There is a hard deadline, regardless of the situation,
Hmm.
by the end of this coming week,
Friday or Sunday?
Sunday,
Got it.
for him to, regardless of
Yeah.
what is the situation,
Yeah.
he
Well,
needs to leave.
and the client, my previous client who I put you in contact with, has a room open right now, ready to go.
Yeah.
So like, if they like work their shit out, if they like go get dinner tonight or whatever, and like they end up working out, then like he can be over there tomorrow. Like that room is open.
Yeah. So there is um that th- that there, I obviously super appreciate you helping me out with this. I reached
Oh,
out
sure.
to who I know, which is like 3 people.
With real estate, it comes with the territory.
So but actively trying to push them to find a place.
Hmm.
It's going back to my lessons learned. I feel as though I've lent a hand out and they've tried to take my whole arm.
Hmm.
And I don't appreciate that, to say
Right.
the least. Super not appreciated. But that's what I got for lessons learned for this week.
It's a good work.
Yeah. What do you have for your business lesson learned, or your life lesson learned, or the lessons of learning?
I have not really like a set lesson. I just have an update. Okay, so last week I left off on the LC hunt
Mhm.
with I forget where I left off. I said I was gonna like try to get a loan or something.
Yes,
Is that where I was?
you were still waiting to hear about approval on the loan.
I was
So
still
it's
waiting.
Sunday.
Okay, that's where I was last Sunday. So I forget what days this happens. I'm just gonna go one by one. I applied. The car is listed at 99,000, right?
Yeah.
I think I could negotiate them down like 5 or 6 grand. So I think I could get them like into the lower 90s. But there's no guarantee I get this car. And if I get loan approval from Northrop Grumman once, I'd like to only get it once and then not have to worry about it again. So I just applied for a loan for 99,000, because if I get a car that's a little less, who cares? No problem. If I get a little more, I can do a down payment, get it down to 99, right? So I applied for a loan for 99K. And while I was waiting to hear back, I didn't look into insurance because I was like, you listen, if I don't get approved for the loan, then who cares? What's the point, right? Um, and I got a response from Northrop Grumman. They countered my loan application with a $50,000 limit. And I was like, that's weird because I make like 95K a year at Northrop. And then I said I make another 30K a year from real estate. And so countering me with 50 feels really low. And so I went to the branch in person and I was like, hey, what's the deal? And she was like, oh, let's take a look at it. And she was like, it's the Lexus. And I was like, yeah. She was like, what kind of Lexus is it? And I was like, oh. And like, they didn't have any of the information in there, even though I submitted that online. And they had check boxes for like all the different upgrade packages and like all the different, like the Mark Levinson sound system and the dynamic handling, like the rear wing, whatever.
Huh.
So I checked all those boxes. And I was like, oh, they should also have my real estate income in there. And she was like, oh, I don't have anything. And I was like, why? And she was like, well, we will only account for it if you have tax returns for 2 years. And I was like, well, I haven't been a real estate agent for 2 years. And she was like, yeah, I mean, like I can write a note, but like it won't be formally incorporated into the loan. And I was like, all right, well, fuck me for doing well in less than 2 years. And so she said, like, they'll be in contact with you. I was like, all right. So I left. And the underwriter called me and he was like, hey, I'm concerned because you've never borrowed this much money before. And I was like, valid concern. How can I borrow this much money if I've never borrowed it before? That's a paradox. And he was like, you make a good point. And he was like, tell me a little bit about the car. So I told him about the car and like how I've been looking for one. He was like, Kelly Blue Book has it valued at like 85. And I was like, yeah, but that's the regular one. The special package is going to appreciate more in value, et cetera. The Mark Levinson system is like widely regarded as being a better sound system. Like I started to talk shop with him and he was like, okay. And he was like, I used to be a finance manager at a car dealership. So like, I kind of know how it goes. And I was like, sounds good. And he was like, I'm happy to hear that real estate's going well for you and everything. I am worried about the equity position because of the Kelly Blue Book value, even though it's a special car and whatever, you could get a good deal. And you've never borrowed this much money before. So I will approve the loan, but conditionally because I want you to do at least a 10% down payment. And I was like, okay. And at the time he said that, and I couldn't remember that is what happened. I was mistaken because I thought he said you should do a 10% down payment. he actually said, you have to do a 10% down payment. It's a stipulation in the loan approval. So thinking that I'm good to go, I go in and I get insurance quotes because that's the next big blocker, right? If I can't get insurance, I'm fucked. I realized that if I take the Camaro off my insurance, because I'm not going to drive it anymore, really, then I also have to unregister the car
Yes.
because you can't have a registered vehicle with no insurance, which is a bummer. And that would mean that I have to take the license plate off the car. And if I have the Camaro parked at the apartment complex, I don't want an unregistered vehicle parked there. That's a problem waiting to happen. And so I was like, shit. Also, like, I don't plan on driving the Camaro that often, but I do still want to drive it. Like, I do still want to drive it like at least once a month to make sure it's all mechanically sound. I'd like to slowly like fix it over
Sure.
time, without it being like, you know, a high priority issue. Like right now, it's like high priority to get the cooling fans fixed. I don't want to do that. I want to in my own time, right? Um, and so I started looking into Haggerty to see if they would insure me for like $20 a month. And Haggerty actually partners with Progressive, and so I can get a Haggerty policy through Progressive. And I was looking at different ways to shuffle it because Progressive gives you a discount if you have multiple cars insured with them. So if I take the Camaro off and I put it on Haggerty now, then I don't get that multiple car discount on the Lexus currently, and I only get that discount when I buy an LC. So like it's better to leave everything on Progressive now and then like anyways, as I was fucking with it, I found that I can insure all 3 cars on the same Progressive policy with full coverage, not full coverage on the Camaro because it's old. But I still get like medical coverage and uninsured motorists and shit like that. It's just like I don't have comprehensive on the Camaro, right? For about what I'm paying right now for the 2 cars.
Cool.
And so that supports the quote that I got a few weeks ago with it being surprisingly low for an LC. And so I talked to my coworker at Northrop Grumman, who has an LC, and he pays about $200 a month, which is consistent with the quote that I got. And I went online into LC chats, and some people have like State Farm and pay out the nose. Some people have a Haggerty and they pay like $180 a month. And so like it kind of depends, right? But the Progressive quote was legit. I did it through my account with my driver's license and my social security number and everything. So like it is a legitimate quote. When I hit submit, and I use the VIN number of the LC too. So like when I hit submit, that is a quote that I get. And so like, okay, loan approval is good, insurance good, life is good. This is actually possible. I should look into see like what is the monthly payment going to be, right? So I made a mortgage calculator and I was playing around with different down payment amounts. And I started to remember that the guy, I couldn't remember if it was a required 10% or an optional 10%. I want to do a $5,000 down payment and then finance the rest. I'm okay with a monthly payment that's a little bit higher. I'd rather have the money in my pocket now than in the car and then have to do lower monthly payments. And so in looking at that, I couldn't remember if it was 10% or not. So like I emailed them and I verified, and they verified that they do want 10%. So technically I can't afford that. I can't afford a 10% down payment, but it's more money than I'm comfortable with given my bank accounts currently and how much money I have. So even though it's possible, it doesn't mean it's responsible. Getting an LC is maybe an irresponsible decision to begin with, and so I'm not going to push it by doing a 10% down payment. And so I decided, okay, I'm just going to wait. And so I texted my guy who's selling the car, who has been texting me every day, like, we've had so much interest in the car, you should put a deposit and like come get it today, that kind of deal. That's the only kind of pushy that he's been, because when I was there, he was wonderful. But I was like, hey man, like, you know, I need a larger down payment to get this loan. And so like I get paid for real estate in a couple weeks. Like I'll be in touch with you, kind of like blow him off thing. And he was like, "Oh well, you should bank with us because we can match those rates." And I was like, "Can you match those rates?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, why don't you go run stuff and match those rates?" He hasn't gotten back to me yet, so we'll see. But I was talking, so like as it stands, it's not happening. I'm gonna miss this car. So be it. Bummed, but say la vie, right? And I started talking to my buddy who owns the LC at work because he was like, "Did you get the car?" And I was like, "No, here's the deal." And he was like, "You should look at other banks. Like you should shop your loan approval around." And I was like, "Can you really do that? Is it like an insurance quote?" And he was like, "Yeah, banks want to work with you. You go shop around." And I was like, "Okay." And so I applied to Launch Credit Union and Space Coast Credit Union just to see if I can get like the same term, because they're good terms. It's 84 months, 6%. And I have 5.7% right now on the 72 month for the ES.
Sure.
And so I applied to loans online. If I get approved, then I'll go in person and I'll be like, "Hey, listen, I have this other offer. Can you beat it or match it?" Right. And we'll go from there. But like, I've kind of hit the point now where I'm like, okay, like I tried, I took the shot, I went for it, and it's not feasible with the 10%. And so I'll I'll do my loan application to launch or whatever. My Northrop approval is good for 60 days. After that, if I find another car or I get more money, if I win the lottery, then I have to reapply. And so what I'm thinking is I'm going to keep spending like I've been spending. I spent $1,400 less this month
Yeah,
than
dude,
I did
that's
last month,
incredible. That's
which is
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm gonna just like build my savings and build my
Cool.
savings. Grace wanted to stop for breakfast on the way to groceries today. I had the opportunity to get a $4 bagel, and I said no because I'd rather have an LC. So I'm hungry right now, but I'm putting money away for an LC.
I ate a free croissant that Sammy got from Fresh Market for buying groceries there because you always get free
Oh
croissants.
hell yeah, dude!
So I had a free croissant this morning. I had a free
There you go.
croissant yesterday. That's pretty much all I've had. I had a mac and cheese bowl last night.
Dude, you're one step closer to getting a 308, and then we can drive the 308 LC to the tail of the dragon. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Is like I gave it a shot. I feel comfortable with the attempt that I made, and I know that I still have the loan approvals pending for Launch Credit Union
Sure.
and Space Coast Credit Union, but I have come to terms with the fact that like it's gonna take time for another car to come on the market. And by then, maybe I'll have a 10% down payment, or by then, maybe I'll have a loan that doesn't have a
Or
10%.
20% down payment.
Sure. Or by then, maybe I'll have a loan that doesn't require a down payment. I can do the $5,000 down payment that I want, and then I just have more money in my savings as cushion.
Sure.
Maybe by then I'll have my promotion from Northrop Grumman because I know that's coming down the pipeline too. And so it's sad because this specific VIN number I do really love and is perfect, and I'm gonna miss it. Like I know that it's not gonna be available, even if I get the promotion and the loan approval and whatever else. Like that'll take like a month or two to happen, and so like I know I'm gonna miss it, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. And so I have
Cars
no lesson.
frequently come up for resale too. A lot
Yeah.
of cars I've seen on Bring a Trailer, like especially stuff like LC 500s and other kind of
Yeah.
more collectible niche cars. They'll sell on something like Bring a Trailer, and then I'll see that VIN number pop up a year and a half later.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, like maybe there are more out there, right?
Sure.
Or maybe there's a blue one. Like I'd like a blue one, you know.
Yeah.
I think black is still my favorite, but like ultimately, like I have the opportunity to get it today. I could drive down there. I can't afford it. I have the money in the bank account, right? And I'm choosing not to, and that feels better than like going and test driving the car and then not even trying. So I'm glad that I tried. I didn't really put like so much time into it that I couldn't get my other things done.
Sure.
And I have no lesson. I'm just bummed. I do think about that car every day. Like
Yeah.
August 14th last year at the American Muscle Car Museum is when I learned about the LC, and I told you
Yeah.
about the LC.
Yeah.
And like it's been almost a year. It's like we're 12 days away from the 1 year mark, right? And I think about that car every day. I have a video of some dude redlining it, favorited in my videos.
Oh yeah.
And like when I come home from work in the gym and I have to go back out to work again, I watch that video to get me hyped up.
Yeah.
Every day I go to sleep thinking about the test drive. Like I love that car, and I need that car in my life, and I will get it in my life, and I'd really like to get it like by the end of the year. But until then, like all I can do is just like continue to spend money wisely and save money, and then like be ready when the car comes available. And so that's what I'm gonna do. Is I have my what's it called? The auto aggregators, like sending me updates every week when or every day when new LCs come on the market. And so I'm just going to have my down payment ready. I'm going to have my loan approval ready. I have my insurance quote. Like I'm just going to be ready to go when it happens, and then I'll just go for it. So yep, that's my, there is no lesson.
I mean, I think at the very least, we can I'd like to still chat and like, figure out how we can get you that car or an equivalent car or a better version of that car. Sooner and quicker. I mean, I think that, the extra $1,400 a month is incredible. I highly encourage to just continue doing that. I mean,
yeah,
that's more than I'm able to do right now. And I think that's incredible. I vouch for doing that 100%.
Well, and like, there will be months where where I spend more, and there'll be months where I spend less. We went grocery shopping today, but this is the last full week before we go on vacation. So I timed out the groceries that we got so that we run out of food on Sunday. So then there's no food in our fridge while we're gone.
Yeah.
So like all of next week, we don't buy a single grocery for all of next week. It's just food on travel. So yeah, I mean, I'll just continue to spend money, and I'll continue to build my resources so that when the next opportunity arises, I can go for it.
I think that's great. I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Good,
Yep.
good little lesson.
Yeah.
Do you have a dial-in?
I do.
I did
You
for there.
remembered.
Yep.
This
got
this is a dial-in quote from Alex Hormozy that I thought about earlier today, and I texted it to you earlier today. It says, "You live your life in a way that I do not prefer."
Factual information. And given that great dial-in quote to sum up at least my week. Thank you all for tuning in. Super appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful week coming up this week. Enjoy the weather out there if you're going outside. And we will see you next time.